Welcome to Highlighting the Journey, where we dive deep into the stories that shape us. From real estate moguls to innovators, entrepreneurs, from life-changing pivots through breakthrough moments, we're here to uncover the paths that lead to success and the obstacles that build character and the insights that inspire action. And I'm your host, Dan the Podcast Man. Today, we're highlighting another incredible journey. Hey everybody, it is Dan the Podcast Man, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Highlighting the Journey. Today, my guest is Whitney Belmonte.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course. You want to give a little bit of an intro of what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Whitney Belmonte. I run a few channels where I create content, helping people learn how to use AI for several different industries, mainly focused today on e-commerce and helping businesses grow and scale with tools that they may or may not know are available to them. So that's kind of the short story.
That's the short story, but we got a good amount of time to definitely dive in and hear exactly the inner workings of that, which I am so excited. How I saw you came on one of our East Coast RIA meetings, and I heard you speak about AI. My eyes just lit up because in the beginning, when AI was being first introduced, I was like, no, we don't need that. And then all of a sudden, I'm on ChatGPT and I'm just plugging in a few words. I'm like, this can do that? So where I want to kind of ask about, so how did you get introduced? Let's start with there. How did you get introduced with the AI component?
Yeah. So I have been in the e-commerce space for the past 16 years. Most recently, I was the VP of e-com and media at a company called Supergoop. And prior to that, I worked for a SaaS edtech business that was basically a content platform that students would subscribe to, college students, that needed help with homework, tutoring, all that sort of stuff. The business was built on a content repository that was created over many, many years. And so the way that students would find the business, and still do today, is they would go to Google, look for a really long form question that may be in the back of their textbook, and the first thing that would come up was a Chegg response, and a student would land on that page on Chegg.com, and there would be a paywall. They would say, I want the solution, the step-by-step breakdown. They would select checkout, and anyway, we had millions of students subscribed, but because it was a content platform, when AI sort of became very mainstream, AI became a huge competitor for that business. Mm-hmm. And it really, put a huge strain on the business as a whole in a really wild way. And leading product marketing at an organization that was being impacted that way, I became obsessed with learning how to use AI to do the absolute opposite of that and help a business grow, help people who are in those seats, marketers, really scale and excel at what they were doing because they were using the tools and the platforms at their disposal. And I just started creating a lot of content about that, sort of very organically, and I'll stop there. Stop blabbering.
That's fine. No, one word you did bring out, and I loved it because it's the word that it always drives me. You brought obsessed. I love when I hear certain words like that where you find something and you're like, oh my God, this is what it can do. And then you find yourself probably in this rabbit hole, and then you really start finding out the inner workings. When people do that, I have learned to discover, because I myself have done that multiple times with a lot of various things, is that you fall in love with it. Is that kind of how you feel about AI right now?
Absolutely. I mean, I've told you this before, but I'm extremely ADHD.
Yeah.
And when I become interested in something, it becomes an obsession and a passion. And this is just something that I truly cannot wait to learn and learn more and teach and learn and teach every single day, because the technology is shifting and changing so rapidly that it's you physically can't keep up unless you are obsessed.
Yeah, I mean, at the rate it's going, I mean, it's I think I mentioned it to you when we prior talk was it is what it is right now. What's it going to be like in 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, if you read articles, even in Forbes or any business publication that you can get your hands on, what I've read and what I've heard Mark Cuban talk about is that 2 years from now, most of your workforce in a majority of, I'll say, like knowledge worker businesses, is going to be agentic, is going to be agents that are helping either their employers do the work as an AI agent, or their entire staff is going to be utilizing AI platforms to drive efficiency in ways that can sort of cut staff in half. And not that I'm advocating for that, but
no, I don't think you're not that. Let's make some things clear. You don't seem like the person for that. There is obviously the component of evolving and growing, and things do change. Computers have replaced a lot of jobs back in the day. Cell phones have replaced jobs, and now this is the next thing that is replacing jobs. And it's the unfortunate news, but it's what happens through life. And it's sad because even myself, I'm a director at my company where I visit various different construction sites, facilities, and I was in this one facility that was remodeled for SpaceX. And that facility used to have 2,500 employees in upstate New York. All gone. And there's a robot with an arm building plastics. And it's sad, it's unfortunate. And like I said, I'm not an advocate for it, but I am an advocate for technology to better life and things to grow. The thing is that people get scared because they probably know one thing and they stick to that one thing, and that's it. And what I like to bring out on my podcast, I want people to step out of that box, because you can't be a person that is just like, I only know this one thing. You got to have multiple skill sets. If you're going to want to be successful in life, it's one of those things. And I'll shut up after this one. When I first started my construction career, I had a construction safety license, and it was the king of all licenses in New York. You cannot pull a building permit without me. And I worked and made a lot of money. But then I kind of saw the writing on the wall saying, oh, work is starting to slow down. We don't quite need you, Dan. Okay, well, you better figure something out, Dan. Maybe you need to start. And that's when I started my real estate investing company. That's when I started media. That's why I started doing other things to make sure that wasn't my only path. So,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the whole point of AI right now, and why I'm training. I mean, even as a marketer and someone who was a data analyst for 15 years in the marketing space, I saw the writing on the wall that you no longer need someone to do that type of work for you. You no longer need, I mean, it exists, still in most industries, like especially in the e-commerce space. You still have people who are dedicated to conversion rate optimization and optimizing websites and making sure that your funnels are as, clean as humanly possible. But I can see the writing on the wall and know which tools are available today to replace all of that work that I used to do manually that I was paid a lot of money for. And so being able to see that clearly and say, I need to figure out what else I can do when this becomes, null and void because a robot can do it. Yeah. And how do I educate people on the same thing?
This is much bigger than you, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
This is much bigger. And what I'm meaning by this is that you are obviously learning and spending the time and obsessing over this, but you're saying like the advocation of like, I'm not advocating for people losing their jobs, but you're simply saying right now on this podcast saying, I want to educate people how to utilize this, and that people could step into this realm right now and go this route because it's going to happen. And this is how you can say, oh, this is one way I know how to do it. Maybe I should start listening to you and start learning this way now. So I kind of see it like you're trying to help. Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I get a lot of hesitation and fear from people all the time. I hear it all the time, whether it be from creative teams or from teams who, have so many other things on their plate that learning how to use AI is just, another thing on their plate that they don't have time for. They don't understand the ROI of it at this moment in time. But what I try to help people understand is that if you're fearing AI right now and you're sort of putting it on the back burner, somebody else who is in your same position is learning how to use it effectively. And in my opinion, that person is going to be the person who replaces you, not necessarily AI in general. It's going to be the people who know how to use it.
Correct. So here's a perfect story that everybody knows in a nutshell, because we've all watched it happen. And we're very, very close in age. We used to go to Blockbuster Video, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And then Netflix came around. And Netflix, obviously, at the time, and when I got on Netflix, they used to actually deliver the DVDs to you. I'm like, oh, wow. They're delivering you the DVDs. I don't have to step foot in a store. Well, this is convenient. I'll set this up, and I got that 70s show. I want the whole season, and shipped to my house. But then Netflix obviously did go to Blockbuster and offered them, hey, let's join forces. And Blockbuster said, no. Why would we do that? We have this great business model. Why would we take a shot with this thing? This is a stupid idea. And then what does Netflix do? They build a streaming service and destroys Blockbuster overnight. And and like I've heard the same thing with like cameras too. Like certain cameras we didn't want to change into video platforms. Even the United States Postal Service, FedEx went to United States Postal Service like back when like the United States Postal Service was was like the prime, you know, like I think like Lance Armstrong, where like everybody was on their logo, the United States Postal Service, because even myself, having to growing up in Italy, they have the worst mailing system. Even when I mailed out my wedding cards, people were not getting it. But United States, we like prided on our mailing service. But FedEx went to them and said, hey, let's come up with an idea and join forces. United States Postal Service like, oh, F that. Where's the United States Postal Service right now? I just keep hearing they're in debt every second. So it's a caveat to everything. It's like, it's either you should take the time and really think about it and not get rid of this fear factor, and I would say get on board. Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the right answer. At least, you know, that's what I say in all of my content. Obviously,
yes,
that's what
course.
I think is the right answer. But I use that Netflix example all the time when I'm trying to help people understand like the reality of the situation. Everything from, you know, Netflix as an example to the digital camera as an example. Yep. You know, and I think the interesting thing about the digital camera example is that photographers, you know, obviously have an extremely unique skill set and an education about how to make things look beautiful. And using a digital camera, you know, people were fearful of that and also sort of looked down upon it. But ultimately, the photographer still has that skill set and is still the one who knows how to make something look beautiful. And so they can pick up a digital camera and do something beautifully that, you know, I personally couldn't do because I don't have that skill set. And AI is the same thing. It sort of reduces the barrier for entry for more people to be able to use things and do things that they never knew that they were capable of. But it also is the results that it creates are much better off in the hands of those who have the background and the skills that they've always had. You know what I mean?
100%. So I'm going to give you the perfect example now. I have a skill set. I have a construction background. I'm very good. I like to say I'm very good at what I do. I know how to bring people in. I know what needs to get done. I have a very big weak point. James, is that her phone or where's your phone? Your phone's on. Can we mute that?
Vibrating.
Sorry, I just keep hearing dinging. Should have told you that. It's all good. I'm gonna pick. Don't worry. I'll edit this out. And good. Thank you, sir. So in construction, I feel that I have I have a very good understanding of everything, how to bring people together, understand building code, understand how job procedures, how to run a job site. I know all those things. I have a major flaw. My major flaw is writing, grammar, and spelling. I am horrendous. But now I use Copilot right now. I go to Copilot and I tell them to write my words, which I know everything, the code, everything that needs to be said. But what it does for me, it cleans up my language, makes me sound professional, but they're still my words, but the AI is just assisting me because I don't sound good when I'm just typing and texting. And a lot of my texts be like, well, damn, what the hell are you saying? I'm like, oh, I just go like this. Oh man, you did it again. But AI has filled in that void. I would have to give it to my wife, like review this for me before I send an email. I don't have to do that anymore. So It's like,
no, yeah, it's so powerful in doing things like that and helping you sort of like amplify what you're already great at. And, you know, I kind of firsthand this week learned how to just to back up a second.
Sure,
just
go ahead.
Recently starting my own business, being a one-person show, I've been learning as I go what I can do to streamline what I'm working on and how I can sort of make things work more efficiently. And something that I do that I've always done as a marketing consultant is analyze people's websites and help them understand where the leaks in their funnel are, basically. So if people are not adding to cart or they're not checking out, I will analyze data, understand where they're losing their customers, and then I will tell them exactly, what to prioritize in order to close those gaps so that business owners who have product or service-based websites where people make purchases can basically find lost revenue. And so that process pre-AI would take me, I'm going to say 10 hours to dissect data, put together a plan on how the website owner should proceed, and then take that and turn it into a PowerPoint presentation and make it look beautiful and hand it off, right?
Correct.
Now I can basically take the same data set and upload it into ChatGPT and tell it to do exactly all the things that I would do in order to find the leaks in the data, in order to understand what's going on. And instead of it taking me 10 hours, ChatGPT can do it in 30 seconds.
Yes.
And then I take all of the input or the output that it's created. Obviously, I double check and make sure everything is accurate.
You got to run through it.
But then not only does it save me that 10 hours, but I can take the synthesized report and upload it to another tool called Gamma, and it creates a beautiful presentation that I don't have to touch in 1 minute.
Remarkable.
So it's, 10 hours is now 1 minute. And I'm over-exaggerating, but very close.
But you're really not. You're really not, because that's how quick and how it is. So here's some good, I think, information, and I think you're going to agree with me on that. You can't replace you. In other words, you have a skill set, you have a talent still. You still know e-commerce and know how that business works. But you have taken AI, and now it's filling in the gaps, the errors. Now, on top of that, your efficiency has gone through the roof. And now what people need to understand is okay, do not be afraid of this thing. You got to lean into it, because you're going to time your business times 100, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about, to give an example of how much money that could save someone. Depending on the size of a business, I'll typically charge between $3,000 and $5,000 to do an audit for a business. And that would take me 10 hours. So think about what that would break down to per hour and how many I could even potentially do, right? Now, if it takes me 10 minutes and I can do that 100 times, and I can still charge the same amount of money because it's the same value. I'm adding the same value. And so if I can charge $3,000 to $5,000 for something that takes me 15 or 20 minutes and not 10 hours, how much more could I potentially make? And that's just an example of how this allows you to scale your revenue potential as well.
So there's another big topic of conversation where I've been understanding about value time. I think time and money, those two things, how the equation is going to be dead soon. I think the $50 an hour rate is going to be gone, because what you do, you still have the skill set, everything, and maybe it does take you 1 hour.
Yep.
But your skill set is what we're paying for. We're paying for your brain. We're paying for that. So I think that this whole notion of like I said, 1 hour is $50 an hour. I'm just saying for your services, okay? But that's not going to be the case. We're not I've come to realize that. If you could do something in under an hour, great, and it cost me $3,000, but you did the work that I needed done, and it did all this for me. What do I care how much time does it take? I can't do something. You can do it. How much do you want for it? So I think there's going to be a massive change too with time value, because even myself, it's I've noticed too, even working in construction and doing documentation, I noticed at some point I was so good at my job that I'd be I'm on a 10-hour shift, and I'm but I did everything in 1 hour.
Yeah.
And I'm still here for 10 hours. What's the point? It's a little different because I was managing the site. I had to physically be there, so that's a different aspect of it, but the actual documentation, filing for paperwork, filing all this stuff, literally took me an hour.
Yeah, no, it's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hear that in so many different industries right now, like that, the way that we're able to like use our time more wisely and sort of use it for ways to grow rather than using it for things that can be done by AI or by an agentic platform. Even in the medical industry, I had someone reach out to me just yesterday telling me that they just enabled this tool in their business to take all of the medical notes, write up all the documentation.
Was it the Applaud?
I don't know who, I'm not
okay.
sure exactly what platform, but they were telling me that it saves them endless amounts of time. They no longer have to pay a scribe to do this kind of work. And it just sort of records the doctor's notes and takes down, all of it. This is completely out of my wheelhouse because it's not my industry at all. But it's just fascinating, how this is being applied in every single industry to do exactly the same thing, which is to reduce the amount of time you're spending doing things that you don't necessarily need to do.
Of course.
And optimizing the way you work so you can make more money.
So like I got this device, it's called Applaud on the back of my iPhone. And then when I get on a call with people from work, just trying to retain information, all this stuff, it hits record. And not to record that individual, like I want to record you. That's not the point. I just need the notes. So the notes get all recorded. It transcribes into action. Dan, what do you need to do? Schedule a meeting at 3:30 with this guy on Tuesday. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm already 10 times efficient. And people ask me at work, it's like, how are you doing this so fast? I'm all in on AI. So here's a funny story. So I've been using Copilot, and an email went out to like the whole company. And I'm brand new to this company. I'm like 4 months in. But in the email, I copied and pasted. And then, how at the top of ChatGPT, do you like the way this looks? It got sent with the email. So I go into like the bullpen area where all like the guys are. It's like, Dan, I think you messed up on your email. I'm like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, no, it looks like what are you using there? I'm like, guys, I'm using AI. You got to be an idiot not to use AI. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that was my word for word writing. Because if I was able to write like that, I don't think I'll be in this career, by the way. I think I'll be in a different career by any means. But if you're not using this to your advantage and to sound professional, because what actually came out of my mouth and what was said on that email is me. I didn't tell it to say, just write me this email. I prompt the email to make it sound clear. So I still write an email saying, hey, John, we got to take care of the third building, make sure the floors are clean, and make sure you cover this. And then I'll just say, please make this into action items. Please make it a nice, simple format, and then it spits right out. So it's my skill set. My skill set's to sterile, but now I just have it organized. This is like a nice, let's say, organizer. It's just going to organize the shit out of everything.
Yeah. I have two really interesting examples based on what you just said. One of which is, I recently got asked by a private equity firm who owns a bunch of e-com businesses to come in and be their like AI evangelist. And so they asked me to put together a proposal, like how many hours would I serve? Would I be serving just the equity firm or also the brands in their portfolio and all the things. So I had all these ideas in my head of like what I could do to help support them, what I think that would look like from a structural standpoint. And I didn't know how to like put it together in a beautiful proposal all that well. Mm-hmm. So I just sort of told it all the things, told ChatGPT all the things that I wanted it to present to this investment firm and, explain that I wanted it presented in, a very eloquent proposal. And it took all of my crazy ideas in my head and just made it this beautiful, eloquent proposal in 30 seconds. And I was able to send it over to the equity firm, immediately rather than waiting and sitting down and having to think about that.
And here's the other kicker too. And people are going to find out the people that use AI and actually don't know what they're doing. Because if I called you in that area and say, please help me run through everything you wrote up and sent to me, please help me run through my business right now, you are going to be able to answer those questions. So I can sit there and tell it to write me a data analyst report or whatever it is I want for a construction site. And let's say I have no idea what the construction site is or any of the information. I just told it to do what it do and then send that email out. And they call me and say, like, Dan, can you come into the field and evaluate this? Well, you're going to find out whether or not if that person's full of crap or not real quick. So that's the other caveat to it. So it's the skill set. And then when there's going to be a point where he's going to say, we need you to show up. And you're going to show up and you'll be like, yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense. This makes sense. And and using ChatGPT and using this stuff too. You mentioned something very good. I sit there and I try to not like that email, but proofread it, make sure, because there's actually times where my real estate stuff, Dan, the home buyer man, and then my W-2 get mixed in together, and then just like I'm like, no, stop, stop right there. And I had to restart from scratch. But you're easily going to see who actually has the knowledge or not. So the AI is a tool. It's not going to replace the actual person completely.
Yeah. I mean, I have to just share this one other example because it's fascinating.
That's what I want you to keep going.
No, I had this conversation this morning, and I was like, I can't even believe that I'm blown away by this stuff still, because every day I'm blown away by a new use case. But I was on a call this morning with an e-commerce business who is looking to upgrade their Shopify platform. And my role is, they were introduced to me because I am in all these AI networks and they want to build their e-commerce site in an AI first way. So I'm connected to a lot of AI developers. And so I connected to an AI development house and connected them to the e-commerce business. So now I'm, acting as a referral or an affiliate. And I was on the call this morning, and we were talking to the development team, and the development team was talking about why you would go with an AI first development house in terms of the speed and efficiency they can deliver. So they explained this so eloquently, and I was so blown away. But the whole call we were on was being recorded, obviously, and all of the requirements for the website were being spoken about, and all of the back-end requirements and tools and all of that. And he was transcribing it. But on the other end of that, he built an agent that is a developer. He named him Charlie. It's Charlie the developer. And he can take all of the requirements that he recorded from that conversation, feed it to Charlie, and then Charlie can go develop that site while we're still on the call, because it's ingesting that. It's been trained as a software engineer, because this guy is a software engineer, but he's using his knowledge and skill set to train an AI robot to do the work for him in real time, which would take him months. And he can do it immediately because he built Charlie that can do the thing while he's learning about it.
That is so badass. I'm sorry. That is that is some cool ass shit. I mean, God, the thing is, and I love when it gives I'm always curious, where do these people come up with these names?
I don't know, but it was so fascinating to me
that's remarkable, by the way. That's
because I've been on the other side of it, where I'm an e-commerce professional paying a developer hours and hours and hours and hours of work, and it's not only what you're paying per hour, to your point earlier, but it would take months to get something delivered. And in the e-commerce space specifically, you need to move as fast as humanly possible to keep up with your competitors. So if you're working with a development house that can give you what you need in real time, more or less, rather than waiting months and months because you know who to go to and you understand this tech, it's game changing.
So you seem like I'm just noticing the tattoos. It seems like you have a creative mindset. And the reason I'm kind of picking that apart is that if you were to develop an AI platform, you don't have to disclose it if you want to keep it a secret. What would you name yours? If it was a person or a thing? I don't know. I think you come up with something really cool.
I have no idea. I've actually developed several, and that are not in market yet. So I have no idea. It would depend on the use case. You see my tattoos. They're all musically inclined. And so I worked on with I met this guy in the in the social space that has written a lot of books about music.
Oh, cool.
And we connected because AI and music are actually very controversial topics right now.
Yeah.
And so we talk all the time about the intersection between AI and music.
This is cool.
But the two of us have been working on, and you're going to get a kick out of this, have been working on building a platform that is AI, basically has an AI back end that will connect music managers to talent by sort of understanding who is out there on social that's sort of creating a presence for themselves, and the managers can go in. But the cooler thing about that...
Can you get cooler than that?
The cooler thing about that
God.
is the way that we built the platform. Is I was connected to this guy who owns a platform called Liquid Metal, which is basically, you can tell it what you want to build. You could say, I want to build a platform that connects musicians to managers, and it will build the platform for you. It's called Liquid Metal. I'm actually hosting a podcast with the guy who owns Liquid Metal after this.
Sweet.
But
I gotta watch that.
We're
That's
building
incredible.
an AI platform using an AI platform to connect musicians to managers, and it will be called Tune Connect probably. And that's not what you asked me, but we got there.
I know, but I did pick apart your tattoos and stuff, and it still gave me a very good story where things are going, because I'm very massive on music. I'm always, like me, one of my favorite things when it came to music was when I always found like an artist that nobody knew about. And like, they're just nobodies. And then eventually that person's like, they're gonna be huge. And then like all of a sudden I'm at Madison Square Garden, they're opening. I'm just like, holy moly. But the fact of the matter is that if you can create this software, or what it sounds like you have, where you can get the actual talented people to the right people, it's their time. It's the time to shine. It's beautiful. It's quite remarkable, because music to me is like, I'm huge on it. And like, I always hated when I watch, like, even my friends, I'm trying to get on my podcast, they're going to come on soon. They're two DJs. I'm into a lot of stuff, but mainly a lot of electronic music, but a lot of bands. But the two guys are so talented, but I just feel like they have not found the right people to connect with. And I just feel like if they just got the right person, it's like, and that's what I love about the podcast, is like people now see who I am. Now, not to say you weren't seen, but now they'll see more of, oh my God, this is her capabilities. And that's why I love doing this stuff too, is like, I want the light shine. I want to show these people, but now you're building a platform. I mean, it's just going to be like, oh, this person's the right person. Here's the manager. Here's the team. Can you do like, I need a guitarist. Like, can you connect those two together?
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the platform is going to be, and I'll give you a little bit of a breakdown so you can understand where this idea came from. But when I was working in e-commerce, obviously a huge element of e-commerce is influencer marketing. And so there was a platform that we used on a daily basis. If we wanted to create a piece of content with an influencer, we could go to this platform and sort of sift through the influencers that were in a specific category, in a specific niche, drove a specific volume of revenue for brands, all those things. And so we could easily connect to the right influencer at the right time. And being on the other end of it and talking with my friends about music and, trying to figure out how we infiltrate that space as well, I was like, this should exist for musicians to be able to find management and vice versa. And so it'll, connect all of their social channels. It'll allow them to create profiles. It'll allow managers to go in and say, hey, I'm looking for someone in this space who has a strong following, who's creating engaging content, who, has a strong future ahead of them. And I want to connect. And so managers will join, musicians will join, and they'll sort of connect like Tinder, I guess.
I'm like having a moment right now, because I'm so blown away what you just told me, because yes, I'm listening to the whole music aspect, but like my brain goes down a rabbit hole, and I'm just thinking about like even my business in real estate and construction. I'm trying to find the right people. That's like the biggest problem. People cannot find the right people, and those people exist. And it's like, how do you get to them? Yeah, you can go on LinkedIn. Yeah, you can go on these websites, and you got to filter and you got to do all this. But if this thing can really pick a person, wow, that's just like, I need this exact person, and they exist. It's gonna change. It's like yes, it's gonna change lives, like we're talking about. And I'm getting goosebumps I'm getting so excited, because it's gonna change lives for people that deserve it.
I mean, bringing it back to AI, just like like conceptualizing this. I'm a one-person show. I'm creating content every day. I'm on calls all day long, and I was able to work with someone to put this together in 3 hours. They built this entire platform in 3 hours because they have a platform that builds platforms like this. If there's something you want to build, you can go in and tell it what to build, and it's all these agents on the back end are building the platform for you. So like, it's an incredible idea, yes, but the fact that I was even able to put something into production while like the
Taking
rest
meetings.
of my head is exploding is wild. And in hours.
So like, oh my God, like even recently, in real estate, I build calculators, and it would spend me hours, not days, and there's always mistakes in it. But now I found this one AI thing with the Excel sheet, and I say, build me a rental calculator so I could buy a rental property, and I want the ROI, I want this, I want that, and then it just spit out all the math. I was like, oh my God, you son of a bitch. You just, weeks and months and errors and this thing just made it flawless.
Yep.
It's just like that. We have talked so much about business, and oh man, I'm excited. It's just quite remarkable. But I wanted you on here because we did have a prior conversation before I wanted you on here, but I want to get your backstory. I want to know about you. I don't formally know you, so let's dive in. I'll start very simply. Where did you graduate?
Where did I graduate?
I should be a little bit more.
High school.
High school. Where are you from? Are you originally
I'm from Long Island. Yep.
You're from Long Island.
Yep.
Okay.
I graduated high school from Sachem in 2005.
Okay.
Yep.
And then where was the journey from there?
And then I went to Quinnipiac, which is in Connecticut. Studied marketing and public relations, and spent way too much on my education, but I loved it.
Oh, you want to? I know you're about the conversation of college. It's that's a whole nother thing. But yes, so after going to Quinnipiac, where has life taken you from there?
Yeah, so after Quinnipiac, I worked for a media agency for a few years, and then I ended up working for an e-commerce business on Long Island. I started there in 2012 and worked there for 10 years.
Can you disclose the name? Or is that?
At the time, it was called envelopes.com, and then it was purchased, and now it's
really?
called Big Name Commerce.
Okay.
And when I started there, it was family owned and operated. We were purchased by a private equity firm and kind of grew from there. But I had a really unique experience working there because it was pretty small company when I started, and I was really interested in learning sort of every element of the business. And so over the course of 10 years, I was able to really get like an entrepreneurial experience and understand every aspect of this business
grow.
And watch the business grow. And, I reported into the CEO by the time I left, and it was a really just incredible skill set that I gained, that I probably wouldn't have gained anywhere else. It was a wonderful experience. And from there, I ended up heading product marketing at the company I was chatting about before called Chegg, which is that ed tech platform that really serves students and helps them through their college experience.
Right.
From Chegg, I ended up transitioning to work for Supergoop, which is a prestige sun care brand, and led their marketing and e-commerce. And then took the leap of faith, and here we are.
Sweet. Well, way to speed up the process, but I'm gonna go backwards a little bit. I want to pick some points about your story. So, when you were with it was Envelopes. Okay, so you were with this company when they started as a family business, right?
Not when I wasn't there since they started, but when I started there, they were family owned and operated.
So you watched the company at the very beginning stages, and you had front row seats of it to grow and develop. What I'm trying to say, and what I want people to hear from this podcast, especially that you have just mentioned all that, it's like you got a front row seat to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I got to watch what it took to grow that business.
Which is huge. And it's either that you're with it or not, and you seem it seems like you're ready for the next thing. You want the next exciting thing. You're ready for the next move. You want to keep pushing forward. You want to be an AI if you're not about that. But you have front row seats to this, and now you're watching how this business grows. So what I want to say is that people out there have these opportunities, and they're right in front of them, and they don't see it. They don't see that a company is growing. They don't see maybe this company's doing bad. And if I was with a different company, or if I was to start a company, these are the things I would do. So from there, what did you gain from there? And what did you gain from that, and that is applied now for you, especially that you said you quit your original W2, and now you're starting your own firm, basically.
Yep. I watched the leadership in that business never ever take their foot off the gas. Even if, business seemed great, they were always after the next win. And they were always pushing to be the best in terms of technology and efficiency, in terms of outpacing their competition, in terms of advertising in the most efficient, effective ways, in terms of utilizing all of the tools that would drive them to success when there was a lot of other competition, getting to market first. And, even if business seemed like it was going well, they were always operating as if they could go on fire, like. And I just watched how obsessed they were with growth and with making sure things were done in the most effective, efficient ways, and making sure they hired the right people, and making sure that everything was constantly moving forward. And they were doing everything in their power to do that. They never sat back and said, okay, this is good enough. And so for me, like, that is how I see the world. And I actually, I've had a lot of conversations with the leadership team there, even today, where I'm constantly thankful of their mentorship and how I was able to sort of digest all of that and apply it to my life.
It's remarkable. And then when you get people, I love people like that. Cause me, I'm like, I even recently, I got hired with this company. I was like a month in, and this guy emailed me. He's like, Dan, I'm looking to advance my career, and he's a laborer, and he's on the lower end scale. He's like, I want to get into safety. I'm like, hell yeah, man. What can I do to help you? And I'm always down with that. Anybody that wants to improve their life, here's my hand. I want to help you. I want to watch other people grow. Like my satisfaction out of life, it really is one of the biggest things is watching people grow. And if I could just be either watching or anything to help them, like, sign me the hell up. And then when I hear stories like that, where somebody's either taking you under their wing and they're either showing you, because it doesn't cost them anything.
Exactly. Yep.
It costs them, that. So judging by your character and everything, when did you figure out there had to be a moment where you saw all this, or whatever it is, whatever time frame this was, and you just knew that you just had to, what was the bug of you knowing that, like, I have to keep moving forward? I know you've expressed the way you are, but, like, is there like a pivotal moment in your life where you're like, I'm not the average. Let's say it this way. I'm not the average person. I know I could do it 10 times better, or whatever it might be.
Honestly, I've always been like that. Like, I've always tried to find a better way to do things. I've always tried to get ahead of everything else. I don't know. It's just how I was born. But also, I watched my dad, like, create a business from scratch around my age, and go from, being a salesperson in PC Richards to growing this incredible insurance brokerage he owns.
Get out of
and
here.
he started it, like, at 38 years old. And now, he lives a wonderful life with his brokerage business. And, I saw how much that changed his life and my family's life. And for me, that was, like, always the dream, is, like, I need to figure out how I do that for my family. And so, I don't know, always.
No, it's a good answer. No, it's a good story. No, it's just, no, you didn't. Obviously, it's not you didn't have a clear cut, but the foundational portion of your father, and I have very similar aspects to that with my father. I'm very fortunate to have a father in my life, and a man that believes in me. It takes a lot of convincing, though. That was my only problem, but I have convinced him. I have finally got him. I got him. Because he had to fund a lot of my projects and take a shot with me, but I had to show him that I was gonna do it, and I was worth it. And now he watches me, and he's just like, "Keep going, man," because I'm the product of him. I'm his son, and my father, like him, came from this country, from Italy, with nothing in his pocket, and made the American dream. Became an American citizen. So did my mother. Both of them, both off the boat, and I watched them. I watched these two do it, and I watched my dad struggle. And now my dad, like my dad, right here, right now, they're in Sicily right now, and just so happy because we have a house there, but they don't go there often enough because they want to spend time with my kids. But now it's just like my dad made it, and like I watched we went to Italy in September. We go pretty often, and September was like the whole month we went, and it was me, my wife, my two kids, my brother, their two kids, my other brother, their kid, and my dad just floated the whole bill, and I was just like trying to pay him, and he's like, "No, get out of here, stop. I want to do this," and like that's my dream now. Like my dream is to be my father. My dream is to, with my brothers, like we're going on a Disney cruise.
Yeah,
pack your bags. Mm-hmm. And that's what drives me. And I hear that with your story, with that. Do you have any story when maybe you were little where you're just like you watched your father and like you said you always wanted to do better, or you had to figure out something? Like, do you have any funny story back when you were younger? Like some type of thing. I'll give you a second. Don't worry.
No. I've learned this about ADHD recently, which I didn't know growing up. But when you especially as a girl, when you get good grades and obsess over things and have ADHD, it oftentimes goes unnoticed because you have good grades and you're not jumping off the walls, and your ADHD isn't physical, it's like mental. Oftentimes it goes under the rug and you don't get treatment for it. So
You should talk to my wife, by the way.
the reason I bring that up is because I recently learned that a lot of women with untreated ADHD have a really hard time remembering a lot of their childhood. And I actually have that problem. I don't remember like a lot of it. Like I remember moments, but there's like,
I hear you.
there's everything is like fuzzy for a lot of my childhood. And I think it's just because my brain was like overly active and trying to accomplish things that it wasn't built to accomplish.
My wife's the same exact way. It's just a very similar story, just for various reasons. But my wife explains to me because I just know how dedicated my wife is, and I hear her, and she feels like she's unnoticed. I see that. I see the level of work that she does for our children and our family. She puts a lot on the line, and I think as a woman, it's like I really have a different perspective on women. I was very naive before I had kids, and then I watched my wife get pregnant, watched her go through birth, and then my child was born, and now like my whole mindset of women are just completely different. First of all, I think women are doing stuff that men cannot do. Period. I really firmly believe that. I'm not even just saying that because I'm speaking to a woman. I really do. I think there's a love and compassion between women that. There's a certain thing about motherhood that I don't understand, that my wife is a very good caretaker, and we get into arguments because her level of love and care is insane. I walked out of my office today. You want to know what I saw in my living room? You won't even guess it, but I'm just going to tell you. It's a blow-up, one of those big blow-up slides, bouncy house thing, fully blown up in our living room. And I'm looking at my wife. I'm like, oh, so this is Wednesday, huh? And she goes, yep. And both the kids are they're sliding down this thing. They got a big pump going on. What I'm trying to say is that, like, yes, I definitely see that with women now, and I see how my wife is, and you know, she gets upset because she's like, you don't see it. And I'm like, I will never see it. And I will try my best to understand it, and I really try to take the time. But I think it's also being a woman too, and you're a mother as well. Yep. So I think all those components together, and it's just like I'm very understanding now of how that aspect works. But I do believe credit is due for that, and it's just the only person you could talk to is another woman. I think that's that, you know, we can have that conversation. But I as a man, I gotta go so far because like how my brain works is that. In my brain, not to say to discredit a woman in this aspect, but my brain is wired to do whatever humanly possible to take care of my family and kids. I will give it all on the line. I will put every sweat, hour, and tear. Not to say a woman wouldn't, but it's just like I feel like as a man, I'm a traditional guy. I believe a man is a provider and a woman is a caretaker. Not to say a woman cannot develop a business or anything like that. Not what I'm saying. But I just think there is certain natural abilities that men have and women have, and like what you're talking about, like I see it every single day between my wife and you know.
Interesting. My husband and I have the opposite of that. I have always been the breadwinner, and he takes care of our kids, like literally full time. He didn't always. He's a mechanical engineer by trade and did it for 16 years, and then like a year ago left because I could not physically keep up with everything and start my own business. And so one of us had to be the one to take care of the kids, and we kind of always knew that it would be him because I always wanted to dive into business and create something.
That is so freaking cool. I love that you mentioned that. I think you're one, you know, there's a few people, there's one other person in my life that, a relative in my family that is, I know what route she's going. It's the route you're explaining. She's the breadwinner and the husband is going to be the take it home caretaker, which is nothing wrong with it. I don't encounter that often. And when I do, I just know it's real and it's cool to actually sit in front of somebody that actually is doing it. And that is so badass. Like it's just, because I believe in that way, but you're living that life, but it's reversed. It's a reverse. So I guess you can sit there and we could think about it for hours, but we're just wasting so much valuable time. Maybe AI can discover all that. So I want to talk a little bit like where you're heading right now, what's happening, what are the services that you are providing, and like as a business owner. And I want to hear the exciting stuff. Like what do you got going on?
I mean, honestly, I've been at this for a whopping 2 months, full time.
Nice.
And I've learned a lot. I'll tell you that. I've learned that everyone under the sun wants to pick my brain. And
I read
totally. But for the first 6 weeks, I'll say, I took every single call that came my way, whether I thought it was going to lead to something, whether I thought I could actually help them or not. But I wanted to just do everything possible because I'm growing a business, right?
You showed up to a real estate investment meeting.
And I have one tonight on Carl's thing. I'm talking at 8:00 tonight.
And I'll be watching.
And you'll be watching. Or I think my part starts at 8:30, but whatever. But I said yes to everything immediately.
Cool.
And what I've learned is that I have a skill set and a knowledge base that serves specific businesses really, really well. And I can do that really, really well, specifically in the e-commerce space. Like anyone who owns a business online that sells anything, that is my bread and butter and my knowledge set. And something we touched on before is that just because you're using AI doesn't mean you can do it well. And so I could help every business under the sun with AI, but that doesn't mean I'm going to, move the needle for them. Where I truly shine and help businesses move the needle is anyone selling a product or a service. Yeah. When I'm trying, I've gone into doctors' offices to help them figure out how they integrate AI. I'm not the right person for that. I don't know enough about what's going on inside a doctor's office to help them integrate the right systems. Somebody else knows that, and I can learn, but I can't spend all of my time learning different businesses in order to grow my business.
Of course, 100%.
So I think the biggest thing that I've learned in the last 8 weeks or so is that I need to niche appropriately and make sure that I am focused on areas that I can truly add value.
It's the only way you're going to scale.
And that's the only way I can scale. Exactly.
It's the only way you're going to scale.
Yeah. I was taking so much time trying to learn the ins and outs of other industries to help support them. And it was very eye-opening very quickly that is not a way to grow my business.
No.
I love talking to people about this stuff. And if I could, I would take every phone call just to understand what they're doing and research. And I can send myself down the longest rabbit holes, though.
But you did something very important, though. You did something important figuring out what you can do and what you can't do. It's kind of like, people are like, oh, I hated that job. Well, guess what? You figured out you don't like doing that.
Yep.
So you're figuring out where you're going to work and where it's going to shine. For me, I was ready to quit my W-2 back in February, but then I got a job offering for a great position, and I said to myself, okay, I'll take it. I really was just going to go dive directly into real estate, and then they gave me the position, and I'm like, oh my God, I love this. Oh my God, I love shooting podcasts. Oh my God, I like doing safety videos. Oh my God, I love all this. Why am I going to start to figure, I'm still doing the real estate, but why am I going to start going a different route and trying to figure out other things when I know I'm good at a certain things, and now I'm doubling, tripling down on the safety aspect for this company, and making sure it's a well-organized thing, and I'm loving it. And I think that's also the other thing too. You got to love what you want to do. Just because a doctor's office comes to you and they say, listen, build this system, we're going to give you $1 million. You're like, oh man, $1 million sounds nice, but I really don't know what I'm doing. But it's it becomes like, oh man, am I really chasing the dollar or am I chasing the passion? You're chasing the passion. You're chasing what is going to make you better and enjoy the process. You can't, and it's like we were saying, you're going to flat out know whether somebody's faking it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And the interesting thing about this space and creating content is that I'm also being connected to a lot of people who are talking about the same things I am, but are experts in different spaces. So I'm able to connect people who ask me if I can help them to the right people and
so
send
you're the
them
Charlie?
business.
You're the Charlie?
So I can send, there's an AI, expert in the medical industry. I can send all of those inquiries to that person and say, you handle this.
I already know this
is
I know where this is heading. I know where this is heading. You're going to develop something where obviously e-commerce is your thing, and you can take care of any customer that comes that way. But I think you're going to build a funnel in an AI where somebody's going to say, hey, listen, I need a real estate person. Hey, I need a lawyer.
Maybe.
I don't think maybe. I think you're already doing it, and maybe I'm calling you out on it. No, but maybe that's in the works, but I definitely see that. But I cannot let you leave here without having a little fun. So give me 1 second.
Gosh.
Like, what the hell is he going to do? Don't worry, it's not weird. Well, at least I promise. These are rapid fire questions, by the way.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question. You just got to give me the answer. What's your favorite movie?
You're going to laugh at this, and I know this is rapid fire, but my husband always makes fun of me because I'm like just not a movie person, and I have.
Oh, that's fine. If you don't have one, it's okay. You could say pass.
Anything with Jack Nicholson. I love Jack Nicholson.
That's good. That's a good one.
The Shining, I would say, but that makes me sound really creepy. So.
No, it's fine. Yeah. Very good performance. highly. I think I saw The Shining like 3 years ago. Like, I was like, wow, this thing is great. Well, I couldn't get past the part where he got frozen and then it just like switched over like to a frozen, that part I couldn't believe, but the rest of the movie was phenomenal. Favorite band?
Pearl Jam. Cross my shirt.
I never would have guessed. Favorite book?
That's a hard one too.
Let me ask you a little bit better of a question. What book would you recommend to somebody?
Slacker.
Okay.
By Rob Janicki, and he's incredible.
What is your favorite store to shop in?
I hate going to stores, to be honest, but I have
Your e-commerce, of course.
But I'm obsessed with Free People and Aviator Nation, so either of those.
Nice. Favorite color?
Green.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Anything with banana.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
To create more hours in a day.
Wow. That is a good one. You sure you want to do that? Netflix or Hulu? Well, you're not a TV person, so I don't know.
Netflix.
Netflix. What's your favorite color? Gatorade.
Blue.
I should have asked that. I have the list here with the Gatorade's been around the whole entire podcast. Beaches or mountains?
Beaches.
Yeah. Laptop or desktop?
Laptop.
Are you an all-inclusive resort person or do you like to explore a city?
Prefer an all-inclusive, but I'll throw in some adventure sometimes.
See, me and my wife, big travelers. We just traveled across everywhere. Well, not everywhere. A lot of places. We still want to do more. But now, since we have kids, we're like, the all-inclusive, I understand it now. I kind of understand it because I just want my brain to shut off. But what do you call cheese that's not yours?
Cheese.
Yes. Yes. Great. Do you have a secret talent?
Definitely not.
Aww.
Not that I have. No, I don't think so.
What is something you cannot live without? And don't say your kids, your husband. I want it like something like, something else.
Music.
That's a good one. What was your first email address?
Oh, God.
I love answering that one.
I don't know.
Did you have AIM?
I had AIM.
What was the AIM Scream name? Do you want to disclose that or no?
It was very weird. So you know how I talked about things I've been obsessed with? When I was a kid, I used to have really weird obsessions, one of which was UPS trucks. I can't even begin to explain this. I had a UPS jacket, truck, toy. Anyway, my AIM screen name was UPS Brown Truck 123.
Oh my God, that is the funniest answer I ever got. I'm sorry.
Maybe why I got into e-commerce, I don't know, but UPS trucks. Wait, I said that wrong.
You're the second person to give me a dropping moment, and that was it. And that was freaking awesome. I'm so happy I just captured that because that was the best. I just want to stop the podcast right now because I was like, gotta end on that high note. Oh my God.
I think my friends now that are like my core group of friends, if they knew that, they might defriend me.
But are they really your friends?
They're really my friends.
I'm proud of you for saying that on the podcast and being fully transparent on you. I love it. I love it.
Oh my God, that was.
I'll be
went
honest,
way back.
Here was my weird obsession. I don't know what it was. Sprinklers.
Okay.
For some fucking reason, I love setting up sprinklers. I love taking the hose, and now I don't. I have automatic ones, but when I was a kid, I was like, I love setting the hose straight up against the house, nice in line, and like putting it in the ground. And then I made this contract with my grandma, and my grandma, you know, she's Italian, but she, like I said, I will water your grass. And like here in Long Island, there was a thing, there was a time period back in the 90s where you only were allowed to water your grass if your house number was an even or an odd number. I forgot what it was because of the drought and everything. And I said, I will come there and I will do it. And I would just set it up. And then every time I go to Home Depot, I grab my dad, because my dad was a contractor too. And we go to Home Depot. I'm like, let's go to the sprinkler section. I think I stole one too. So I'm with you with the UPS truck. Not even my wife knows that. Actually, no, she might know that. She might know that. Have you ever played, you played Mario Kart, right?
Yeah.
What character would you use?
I don't know if I know enough about Mario
You don't know
Kart
that?
to
It's
answer
fine.
that question. Probably Yoshi.
You're the second person to say Yoshi. What is your guilty pleasure song? So a song comes on and you're singing it.
Pink Pony Club. Why are you making that face?
That's the guy you just met?
Yeah.
He said the same thing.
It's really weird. That's the power of TikTok for you.
I don't know if we should ask you this question if it's appropriate.
God.
I'm going to skip it. It's more of a guy question. I'll tell you the question, but it was more of a guy question. It was like, would you rather? I prefer to ask the guy this. Would you rather be sexy or smart? But I think you would pick smart.
I would.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to ask you that. What is your biggest pet peeve? What drives you up a wall?
People who don't try to figure things out before asking someone else to do it.
Damn, that is good. That is good. It's like, so like, not to deviate from obviously my rapid question, but that's a really good point. Like, I can't stand that. Like, did you just take 5 minutes to like actually look at the thing or look up online? Like, you're so, God, that one.
Except for with my husband, because a lot of times if there's something that I need to do around the house, I will make sure that he just does it because I don't feel like learning how to do it.
When my wife listens to this podcast, I'm going to get roasted. She is going to yell at me because that's what I do. Because I'm like, where's the scissors? Dan, the scissors has been in the same drawer for the last 10 years. I don't know why you're asking me that. Stop asking me that. And it's like, maybe I just want to talk to you. What was the biggest risk you ever taken in your life?
Leaving my very comfortable corporate VP role to start my own business while my husband is a stay-at-home dad.
Gotcha. Now,
I also jumped out of planes, but you know, I was attached to people, so that's less risky. Yeah,
sweet. I got to do it.
So great.
How many times have you done
Although I haven't done it since I had kids. I only did it twice, but
was that one of the big moments in life? Like, it's like
it was a very cool memory. Like, it was just like the coolest. If I didn't have kids, I think I would be addicted to skydiving.
What was the first? How was the first moment? So like, how was it getting on the plane? Everything nervous wise? Obviously, it has to be something.
Very nervous. Yeah, extremely nerve-wracking to do that.
Was your brain more telling you not to do it, but you knew you had to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I feel like with it too. If I had to do it, but now I have kids. I'm like I'm the slow driver. I'm very careful.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it again until like my kids are full adults, and then I don't feel
you're
like
gonna have a whole AI company that's just gonna just be printing money.
Fingers crossed.
So obviously I told you I'm Italian, but I always ask this question because this is whether or not I'm going to have a a professional relationship or networking with you. On pasta, what do you call the red sauce that goes on pasta?
Sauce.
Thank God. Anybody that says gravy, my mind hurts. My mind hurts. I'm just like, I don't know where it happened. It happened, and if I have a movement, that's my movement. It's like I gotta stop that. Please if you're gonna do anything for me, and I'll pay you. Don't worry. Just please make an AI device. When somebody says gravy, it automatically spits out the word sauce. So we're just like we could bury the hatchet with that one.
Will do. Perfect.
Well, first, I really want to say thank you. I think your story and what you got going on obviously is the beginning. It's so exciting for me to obviously connect with you. And then now I'm watching on Instagram. By the way, you got to do something for me. This podcast, please do some AI generation thing. You gotta do something
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
But I am watching you on Instagram do the 30-day challenge. Can you explain that actually a little bit, what you're doing right now with the 30-day thing? I think it's a really good topic.
Yeah, I'm doing it really as a way to keep myself focused. I'm doing this challenge to help me figure out, as a one-person business owner, how to get to $100,000 a month in revenue.
Wow.
And so I'm doing 30 days. Every day I ask ChatGPT like what AI skill I need to learn in order to either be more efficient, find more customers, or help the customers that I do have learn how to do something that's going to make their business flourish. And so it's this, series of every day, what am I asking what is ChatGPT telling me that I need to learn? And then, every other day or so I'm showing myself learning that skill and
Cool.
how I sort of apply it in business, so that I'm both holding myself accountable and creating teaching moments out of it as I go.
Gotcha. And you sent the prompt up and it was really good. You sent the prompt up on your Instagram where I am getting your notifications every time you post. It's just great marketing. Like the way you set it up, it was just like, I'm hooked. I want to see what you're going to do next. Like it's really, you're good.
That's my background, marketing. So,
but as I was saying, it's really exciting to watch for me, because I am a person, a self-starter, and watch myself grow. And now I'm watching something grow in a different avenue where I'm very, I'm all in on, I want to see where this thing goes. And I'm very excited for you. And I'm very excited that you came on this podcast, because I feel like maybe you will, because I feel like you're humble enough. But I feel like you're just going to explode, and then you're just going to be like, I'm just going to see you on I don't know, some TV show, and I'm just like, I talked to her.
People say that to me all the time, and I'm like, I feel like I have this expectation now, and if I don't end up on some crazy TV show, I'm going to let people down. Literally, people tell me that all the time. They're like, you're going to end up on this crazy show, and
I just feel like, yeah. I feel like Netflix is going to pick you up on the docuseries of how to build it, just everything with AI. I don't know what it is, but it is for me. It excites the living shit out of me watching an entrepreneur, watching a self-starter step out of the box, think differently, and say, I'm going to make a change in my life. And I believe in this, and it's not money that's driving me, it's passion. And I'm watching you. I have front row seats. I call Instagram the front row seats, but I got front row seats watching you do that, and I'm very excited to watch you, and I get to be a little bit of part of what you're doing. And I'm in awe, and I can't thank you enough for coming on this podcast. It really, really means a lot to me.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me, and it's incredible that you're doing this, and highlighting people that are building businesses and growing things. It's incredible that you're doing this. This is not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. It's like, not to get religious or anything like that. I believe in faith. I believe in faith. I believe I know I have a gift to talk to people. I know I have a gift to communicate. I know I have a gift to make people rise. And the reason I know that is because I strived that as a young child, and as a younger, that I wanted somebody to lift me up. Not to say people haven't. And then when I was able to do that and see a smile, or see, oh man, I just had a great conversation with Dan. That meant everything. That means everything to me. And now I see this tool, the podcast, as a tool of whoa, you get to have a person in front of you, and you get to show them their skill sets. Even one of my friends is an attorney. She's a wonderful girl. She's very, very intelligent, and she's going on job interviews. And the problem with job interviews, it's kind of fake. It's phony baloney. Oh, I really want the job. You want the job. I'm dressed up like this, asking these questions. And then you get into the company, you get hired. Let's say you do get hired. And then you realize 3 months later that your boss is out of his fucking mind. And then you realize that Joni over there won't stop doing some stupid shit. Then you just find out the inner workings that everybody's is a human being. So the podcast is a great avenue for people to see that. Oh my God, this is exactly who you are without there's no facade.
Right.
There's no phony baloney. You're not on here. There's nothing, and you're not on here to I don't put people on here to sell a product. I bring people on here saying, yo, this girl's got something good going on. You got to check her out. It is fucking kick-ass. Check her out. That's what I want. And being able to do that, I knew I had that skill set. I always had that skill set. And I just love bringing the energy, and you can see, I think you got a good grasp. That's why. But I'm thrilled. Before we sign off, in that camera, deliver to my audience some wisdom. It could be AI, personal, whatever it might be. What is on that mind of yours? And
I will just say that if you have something that you've been thinking of and you want to pursue something, you need to go and do it. Start creating content, start putting yourself out there. It is wild what happens when you start to do that. And it's something that, having a corporate role and a busy life, you can very frequently put off to the side and put on the back burner. But it has been such an eye-opening experience what you're capable of and what opportunities come your way when you start to really kind of dive into your passion and create that space for yourself and that visibility for yourself. It's every day I learn something new about it. It's extremely eye-opening and quite honestly life-changing. So that is what I will end with.
Well, that was awesome. But before you end, one last time, where do we find you? How do we find you? How do we get in contact with you?
Yep. Most of my content is on Instagram at Whitney Does AI. I also post most of it on LinkedIn. So if you look me up, Whitney Belmonte has all of my content as well. But Instagram is where I'm every day. You could see my stories. I'm constantly talking to my audience on Instagram. You could also email me at Whitney. What's my email address? Whitney@whitneydoesai.com.
You couldn't remember your old one, but you got your new one. Guys, that is it for our episode. I hope you enjoyed. All Whitney's information will be posted in the bio. And thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.